Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. Ahead of her third fight with Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor still dreams of Croke Park fight as Chantel Cameron announces career move. Katie Taylor may be preparing to face Amanda Serrano at MSG on July 11th, but the Irish boxer is still dreaming of fighting at Croke Park before the end of her career. Taylor is already 2-0 against Serrano, but agreed to a trilogy fight at MSG after admitting that she is still the best challenger in women's boxing, and as a result, Taylor has demanded that Serrano thank her for the opportunity. But the champion is also hoping that a rare chance comes her way in the future.
What remains of it?
Chantel Cameron remains the only fighter to beat Katie Taylor, doing so in May of 2023, 2 years ago, at the 3 Arena in Dublin, before losing the rematch at the same venue 6 months later. After facing Serrano for the third time, she could face Cameron in another trilogy, but in order to do so, she wants to fight at Croke Park.
And I'm sure that Chantel will be thrilled to hear that.
Cameron just signed a deal with Jake Paul's MVP, joining Serrano in being represented by the promotion. For now, Taylor is focusing on her upcoming fight against Serrano, but exclusively told Irish Star Sports that she's hopeful that her dream of headlining at Croke Park could come into fruition if she faces Cameron again. I'm still clinging on to a bit of hope that it can happen, but I'm not sure if it will ever happen, Taylor said to the Irish Star. I think after the last Chantel Cameron fight, that's where I wanted the trilogy, in Croke Park. Whether that happens, we will have to see. It's our biggest stadium, our most iconic stadium. To have a chance to fight there, I still dream about it every now and then, but MSG isn't too bad either. It's amazing that we are even having these conversations. To be honest, it's true. Women's boxing was in a very different place when Katie Taylor went pro. Now, it's all the rage, it's normalized, and it's growing.
9 years later, almost a decade.
When asked if she could face Cameron directly after her trilogy with Serrano, Taylor added, "We will see what happens, but this is obviously a bigger and better fight than the Chantel Cameron trilogy. We can talk about that after, but it could, possibly, who knows what will happen down the line. I'm willing to step in and fight anybody. Let's see what happens." You hear a lot of fighters say that, but very few of them live up to it, and Katie Taylor is one of the few. She's leaving the door open for that Chantel Cameron trilogy. Some would say that Chantel is more worthy of another fight with Katie than Amanda because Chantel actually beat Katie, and they're 1-1 with each other.
Whereas Katie has won the first 2 Amanda Serrano fights, and some are expecting her to win the third.
Taylor has admitted that retirement isn't too far away and is currently living in the moment rather than looking too far ahead. I'm just taking it one fight at a time. At this stage, we will see what happens, Taylor said. I'm just going to focus on this fight, and then we will have that conversation after July. But like I said, I never thought it was going to get any bigger than the first MSG fight. Then I got the chance to do the fights at home, fight on Mike Tyson's undercard, and here we are again, and it's even bigger than the last few fights. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I can't believe the position I'm in, to be honest. I don't think anyone would have believed this if you asked me years ago when I turned pro. Did you think you were going to be headlining at Madison Square Garden not just once, but twice? To be in this position, I don't think anybody would have guessed it. It's been an amazing journey, and I just can't wait to step in there again, and what a privilege it is to be in this position. I think every female fighter in the world wants to be in this position that I'm in, and I don't take it for granted.
We're close to 10 years out from Katie Taylor's pro debut, and needless to say, the impact is there, the footprint.
Will she fight Chantel Cameron for a third time? If she beats Amanda, she's left the door open for it, not quite committed, but not closed off.
Say she doesn't.
Oftentimes when we talk about the potentiality of a Cameron trilogy, we take it as a given because of Katie Taylor's track record, because she's known for taking on all comers, all the quality fighters, whoever is around. That's what she's known for. But on the predication that she doesn't fight Chantel, and she, calls it a career, retires.
What should Chantel Cameron do then? Who should she fight? I'm of the opinion that she can still have some quality fights with quality fighters in, say, Sandy Ryan at 140 or 147. Michaela Mayer, she's a champion up there.
And remember that Michaela is a smaller fighter. She moved up from 130. If Michaela Mayer can hang at 147, I would think that Chantel Cameron can too. She's been at 140 all of these years. Not having to cut that extra 7 to make 140 might be a breath of fresh air for her in the event that she can't get a third fight with Katie.
Because a lot is expected of Katie, and sometimes you wonder if it's unfair.
38 years old now. Her last 3 fights, the first Chantel Cameron fight, the second Chantel Cameron fight, the second Amanda Serrano fight. Now she's fighting Amanda for a third time.
To then fight Chantel right after that.
I mean, if anybody in women's boxing has earned the right to take it easy, at least after her upcoming fight, it would be Katie Taylor. These are not soup ladies that she's fighting or barren weight classes, empty weight classes that she's fighting in. She's fighting quality fighter after quality fighter in succession.
They want to tell you that Clarissa Shields is pound for pound number 1. In the time it's taking Clarissa to get back in the ring with Savannah, Katie has already fought Amanda 2 times, Chantel 2 times. She's on her way to her 3rd fight with Amanda to then have a 3rd fight with Chantel, all before Clarissa fights Savannah
twice?
Again.
Katie Taylor's own words, we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't begrudge her if she didn't fight Chantel right away. I wouldn't.
Be alright if she took a foot off the gas.
No, we don't got to talk about Floyd. There is no comparison. Devin's been undisputed in his division, in a division.
But
what division?
But yet, you always making Floyd comparisons, man. You always bringing up Floyd. But I don't get it.
I brought up Floyd. I brought up Canelo.
You bring up Floyd every conversation. You bring up Floyd.
Just because nothing about you resembles Floyd, then you don't say Floyd's name. That's what you need to do.
Man, don't nothing about Dev resemble Floyd, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Y'all keep trying to compare Dev to Floyd, and this is why you take so much scrutiny. This is why you all take so much scrutiny, because y'all keep trying to compare Dev to Floyd, and Dev ain't Floyd, man.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, though. And Devin, at 26 years old, have fought 7 champions. How many did Floyd fight?
I don't know, Bill. How many did Floyd fight?
4.
I don't have the answer for that.
4.
That's stat padding, folks. That's stat padding if I've ever seen it, because Bill keeps saying that Devin fought 7 champions.
Do you know who he's talking about? He's talking about Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares. What belt did Devin win from Jojo that you're bringing him up as a champion? What belt did Devin win from Jorge?
None, because they weren't champions when Devin fought him. But Bill presents them as such to beef up Devin's resume.
Vasyl Lomachenko was not a champion when Devin fought him either, and most people don't even think Devin beat him.
But this is the bullshit we get from Bill, and people are tired of it. I, like the caller, am so sick of Bill making these associations to Floyd Mayweather when Devin is nothing like Floyd Mayweather. At 26 years old, Floyd was a stone-cold killer, whereas your son at that same age hits like a girl. Yeah, I wasn't so ruffled about it before, but after a couple of years of Bill making these comparisons, I'm about sick of it.
Get off his dick.
Floyd inadvertently has become the patron saint for every Joe Boxer with a halfway decent jab and a Philly shell. Every money-hungry, entitled dreamer, mover, jabber likens himself to Floyd, but Devin and Bill have done that so many times. People are sick of it. You're not like Floyd. At 26, Floyd was a goddamn animal.
He brings up the undisputed. That Devin did do one thing Floyd never did. He did become an undisputed champion without mentioning that you only had to fight one guy for that. George Kambosos. So how does the name of George Kambosos look against names like Genaro Hernandez,
Zab Judah, Chico Corrales, Castillo, Maidana, Mosley, Marquez, Canelo, Cotto.
How's it look?
See, the boxing community at large is about tired of these bullshitters, these boxing dads like Bill Haney. Whether it's Mama Sko or T.O. Sr.
Or Bill, these wannabe fast talkers.
You think you can gaslight the boxing community into viewing your son through the same lens that they may have viewed a Floyd Mayweather, but he's not Floyd Mayweather. Devin is nowhere near as proficient mid-range to inside as Floyd Mayweather was. I think that Floyd's got a bad rap. People make him out to be some kind of outside cutie pie, like Devin.
These are people I gather. They didn't actually see Floyd's career or see him box themselves. Everything they know about him, they heard second or third hand or picked up on YouTube. But Floyd was quite proficient within striking distance. His signature move, the pull counter, requires you to stand within striking distance of your opponent, baiting him to throw so that you can counter what he throws, i.e., pull counter.
Floyd actually spent a hell of a lot more time within striking distance of his opponents than Devin does with his opponents.
Devin is a wannabe Floyd.
And Bill is a wannabe Al Heyman. They're just a couple of wannabes, these two. Show me somebody that Devin beat the hell out of like Floyd beat the hell out of Gaddy. Floyd beat the hell out of Chico. Who did Devin do that to?
Keep calling him Baby Floyd.
Gay.
See Devin doing the thing that Floyd used to do where he goes to the jeweler, shows off all the new jewels, all the new toys. Devin just did that.
Gay.
Your little rant to Teofimo Lopez about all the cars that Devin's hopped out of.
Gay.
You think the caller's pulling it out of his ass that you're always likening your son to Floyd Mayweather? Always making those associations? Do you have a picture of Floyd hung above your dining room table? Because it sounds like it.
Gay.
And you better hope that Turkey LL Sheikh finds use for your son, because your son don't have Floyd's drawing power. He needs Turkey. If he gets back out there in the open market, Top Rank is not going to overpay him, and neither is Matchroom.
Just your perspective. It was announced that Dana White and TKO are promoting this show.
Well, that shows really shows how Turkey respects everybody in boxing by having a UFC guy promote a fight that he's paying an incredible amount of money for. But listen, it's his money. He can make a choice.
What do you think of it being on a Friday instead of a Saturday?
Who should care about it? UFC, Dana White doesn't care about it. The two fighters don't care about it. Nobody cares about it because it's all Saudi money. So it could be a Monday. It could be a Friday after services are over in the mosque. You know, nobody cares anymore. They just grab the check.
That interview with the Bob Father was conducted by Marcos Villegas before Turkey LL Sheikh himself stated, "We have confirmed the promoter for Canelo versus Crawford will be Sella for Riyadh season. The broadcaster, we've not decided yet, but the date will be Saturday the 13th of September, not Friday."
No Dana White. No TKO.
A lot of what Bob Arum told Marcos is true, that, when you do the fight and where you do the fight doesn't really matter when the Saudis involved, because the money's coming from them and not necessarily the audience you're hoping generates the money for you. So you don't gotta get stuck on minor details like dates and times and locations, since it's all bought and paid for.
You could do it on a Tuesday.
That's what he means. That a lot of what you see in orchestrating a fight under normal circumstances is all geared towards the event generating as much money as possible at the best possible location. But when the Saudis are paying for it, you don't actually have to worry about that.
Then why have the details changed? Why is it on a Saturday instead of a Friday? And why is Sella promoting it instead of Dana White?
Well, remember that Dana White has a UFC event happening that same weekend, and it's supposed to be a big one to where he'd be spreading himself thin, trying to promote both a UFC event and a boxing match, a rather big one at that.
I never thought he was the right man for the job. I never thought he's the guy that needs to be promoting this. What they wanted to do was use this fight as the launch pad for the TKO brand.
You want to get attention on this brand? This is a fight, and these are two guys that get a lot of attention. That was the hierarchy of thought. But I guess somewhere down the line, Turkey caught wind. Dana's not the right guy for this. He doesn't have the experience in this sport, with this audience, this demo, to be the one promoting this show.
And even if he did, by some lucky dog chance, he still has an MMA show he has to promote.
Not the right guy for this assignment. I would sooner give it to Eddie Hearn to promote than Dana White.
Matchroom has promoted several of Canelo Alvarez's fights. Did people forget?
Did people forget that when Canelo broke the indoor attendance record in this country, that show, that one in particular, was promoted by Matchroom?
One of the bigger events Canelo Alvarez has been in. They promoted the Callum Smith fight, the John Ryder fight, the Billy Joe Saunders fight, the Bivol fight,
the Yildirim fight. They've worked with Canelo before, is what I'm getting at. They've worked with him before where Dana White has not. He's got no experience with Crawford, none with Canelo, that he's not the guy who needs to be promoting them.
What does this mean for TKO?
Well, they can still do whatever they're planning on doing with TKO, but they won't be using this particular event as the advertisement for that brand. They're going to have to advertise it some other kind of way.
I could have swore that I saw Bob Arum say that Canelo Alvarez will mop the floor with Terence Crawford. And it wasn't that long ago either.
Whereas more recently, he's saying that Canelo don't care. He's a businessman. We don't know what version of him is going to show up. What changed his mind?
The skull fight.
And he's entitled. If he saw something that affected his perception of the fight, so be it. It's not the end of the world. The skull fight, whether the Canelo fans want to accept it or not, was a bad advertisement for Canelo, because even if William Skull isn't engaging and all he's doing is running...
Yeah, that's his fault. But Canelo didn't make it any better, you know? Canelo didn't throw that many punches in that fight.
At some point, you gotta call a spade a spade. That was not a good advertisement for Canelo and what he's going to bring to a Terence Crawford fight. Now, I expect that Canelo's camp for Terence, he's going to take that a lot more serious. He's going to be more serious about Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford is a pound-for-pound fighter.
That I think we're going to see a more motivated Canelo Alvarez, and that will be worth something, but we're also going to see a motivated Terence Crawford. So many of these guys Canelo's been fighting are content just surviving long enough to cash the check. Terence, I think, he's going to actually try to win.
Part of trying to win is taking risks, is taking chances.
I don't expect this to be a shoot-'em-up kind of fight, a slobber-knocker, an action movie. No, I expect this to be more of a thriller.
A tense battle where both men are fighting for real estate and looking for openings, battling each other's ring IQ, as it were. Remember that Canelo's output has diminished over time. He doesn't throw that many punches these days, and at the same time, Terence has to respect what power Canelo has left. You don't want to try him too much.
Try for too many punches, stand in front of him too much, stand in one spot too much, you gotta respect him.
There's gonna be fencing to the jabs and fighting for real estate. They're gonna respect each other, so I'm expecting a tense, well-thought-out, crafty battle, but not a shoot-'em-up kind of deal.
I don't think either guy is gonna be all that cavalier, throwing caution to the wind.
I expect a good fight, and a high-level fight. Thing about high-level fighters is sometimes it's hard to land clean on them.